This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Welcome to Spirit's Journey, coming to you live on Truth Frequency Radio and simulcast on Oneness Talk Radio. Your hosts are Patrick and Kathryn Andries.
Join us each week as we explore a wide range of metaphysical topics such as dreams, astrology, intuitive readings, and life purpose. You'll receive practical guidance so that you can live your most awesome life.
Learn more about what we do at intuitiveschool.com and connect with us on Facebook at Spirit's Journey Radio.
With social events, speaking, and so forth. So that's where we've come from. And, you know, if you were tired of all the politicians and everything, then you're going to enjoy 2020 because we are moving into a year 4. So think of everything that has 4 legs, a chair, a table. It's all about stability, okay? So I think we're going to find a lot calmer energies in 2020. 4 is an earth number. So I think there will be a lot more attention on the earth. We know that there was, you know, a lot of talk about climate change. Some people believe in it, some people don't. But some of the good things that came out is that we recognize glyphosate is a carcinogen. We got it off the market at certain stores, but it's still out there. So that's something that we will continue to work on in 2020, I believe, removing the pesticides, the glyphosate from the earth. We'll be talking more about food supply, how we grow food. There'll be more documentaries coming out about people who have farms, like the Biggest Little Farm movie that came out. We should be seeing more of that. So all you earth lovers, this is your time in 2020 to talk about farming. I hope that we will see the rise of more little organic farms and a push to revert back to local farming because we know that buying local food is the best. So that has to do with the earth. Now, let's talk about the practical side of a 4. You know, there so much in politics and stuff goes beyond the practicality. So this year, we should be seeing people get back to the basics in our own life and in the world, being practical. What are practical ways we should spend the money and so forth? The over spending in the government, you know, that is not practical. Hopefully that will be brought up as we go through the debates about being practical. Where should we put our money? 4 is a year of building a foundation. So does that mean the wall that Donald Trump wants to build is going to come up? I don't know. But everything with building is highlighting. We may find that construction is on the rise. Maybe the tear down of old buildings and new ones coming up. But 4 is a builder. So if you are in the industry of building or construction, this could be lucrative for you. So let's take that a step further and let's just talk about real estate. So if 4 is a number of construction, practicality, building a foundation, I do believe it will be a good year for the housing industry. If you're thinking of buying, if you're thinking of selling, it could be an opportune time. Now, I do want to say we are talking in general about the overall universal number 4. Now, on your own personal charts, you may have different numbers. So I want you to keep that in stride with the information that I'm giving. This is overall globally. But for you personally, whether it's a good time to buy or sell, that remains to be seen on your own personal chart. But from a global standpoint, I think there will be a lot of real estate transactions. So if you are a real estate agent, this could potentially be a good year for you. We're going to talk about real estate as we go on as well, because there's another side to that we want to touch on. So 4 is about traditions. So I think that families, people will be getting back to some more of the traditions that ground us and bring us together as people, as a world, as communities. So if, solstice celebrations, for example, could be on the rise. These are going back to some of the traditional things. It will be difficult with progressivism and the number 4, because the number 4 is about tradition and stability, not necessarily upsetting those long-held traditions. So that's what we can also see as well. So overall, it's about a year of stability, getting our ducks in a row. So as a country, what does that mean? Can we hold politicians more accountable to the practicality, to getting things in order in our own spending and our own government? All right, so overall, that is the energies for the 4. Now, astrologically, let's talk about some of the big things going on. First of all, we just came off a full moon in Gemini. And I don't know if you felt it, but I sure did, especially if you have Gemini on your chart. It was probably particularly forceful and intense for you. So the full moon obviously brings things to a fruition. So in the sign of Gemini, it meant that communication was happening. If things had been repressed, if there was a minor blow up in normal cases with this full moon in Gemini, it was probably a bigger blow up. There could have been a lot of verbal exchanges, verbal arguments, and so forth with this full moon in Gemini. Remember, it brings things to fruition. So things that had been bubbling beneath the surface were allowed to come forward. Now, in terms of education, there could have been a lot going on in schools with the full moon in Gemini. On the good side, it could be that there was a lot of learning going on. People perhaps were more on the internet the past couple days, reading things, learning things. More things coming out in the news. Very interesting that the impeachment process has kind of come to a head with the full moon. So most of the testimony is over. There's just a few more things to clean up. So Donald Trump is a Gemini. So he has probably had a very intense week, which he did with the impeachment going on. And he's a Gemini. So not so good for him and communication. There's also been a lot in the news about revealing his tax returns, which have been, kept hidden up till this point. And it looks like that's moving forward to force him to reveal the taxes. Again, he's a Gemini, the full moon coming to fruition. Nothing has been finalized on that, but I think it will be soon. Now, let's look at Jupiter. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance. So let's backtrack over the past year in 2019, because Jupiter stays in a sign for 1 year. So Jupiter has been traversing through Sagittarius. And so being a fire sign, there was a tendency to exaggerate, to tell grandiose stories. Also for spirituality and metaphysical people, this was an opportune year to get your message out there, to let the world know your thoughts and your beliefs about different things. So I also see in 2019 with Jupiter and Sagittarius, some people had a difficulty being disciplined. Sagittarius is the man on the horse, the wandering spiritual warrior. But Sag loves to play and have fun. So if they were not able to reel in their energies and focus, then some people got off track this past year. Too many parties, too much fun, lack of focus. All that's coming to an end because on December 3rd, Jupiter moved into the sign of Capricorn. All right, all you Capricorns out there, listen up. This is going to be a huge year for you because not only do we have Saturn in Capricorn, we also have Pluto continuing in Capricorn. Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn, and Pluto in Capricorn. Wow. This is very earthy energy. So if you have Capricorn anywhere on your chart, this is the area of life for you that's going to be activated. So if your sun sign is in Capricorn, expect heavy responsibilities, expansion overall in your life. So with Jupiter in Capricorn, we see the expansion of potential power. Now, Capricorn is about the status quo. It's about, power, rising to the top, being an authority. So we may actually see the expansion of some authoritarianism. So where might that show up? Well, we see all the tech giants garnering more power, trying to censor people, using their power in ways to shut other people down. So with Jupiter and Capricorn, we could potentially see a rise in that. However, because Jupiter is about integrity, we may also see the breakdown of people in power who lack integrity. So we have both of those forces working. So what I would say is, if anybody is involved in any kind of efforts to bring integrity about, people in different groups and organizations trying to bring truth and justice, and I can name a lot of them, I think this is an opportune year because Jupiter is wanting to bring out the integrity and expose those who aren't. Okay? So let's just look at some of the things that have been unveiled. So a lot of people have been saying, oh my gosh, the world seems crazier than ever. What's going on? So what I want to say is this. This stuff has been going on, but what has happened is the veil of corruption is being revealed. The veil is showing us all the corruption that has been going on for years and years and years. Let's look at some of these. Harvey Weinstein, right? He has been abusing his power, abusing women, doing deceitful things in Hollywood for many, many years. Now he's on trial, right? So this is not something new. It's just finally being revealed thanks to Pluto in Capricorn, kind of unearthing some of this deceitfulness. Then we have Epstein, right? Now he's been supposedly doing the sex trafficking and all these things for many, many years. It's just now, over the past year, that it's being revealed. So we have to keep these things in perspective. This is nothing new. Now we're just finally seeing it. What about glyphosate and the fact that it's a carcinogen? So we finally have now court cases where people are winning right and left, proving that their cancers, their illnesses have been caused by glyphosate, main ingredient in Roundup. Now, this stuff has been being sprayed all over the earth, billions of tons every year for years and years and years. It's finally being unveiled about the truth about what this product is doing to us. So those are just some of the examples of the deceitfulness that is being unveiled. I expect more to be happening. You see now Pluto, which is the planet of exposing what's been hidden, removing that which is out of integrity to bring in something new. It's about destruction and creation. What's no longer useful, Pluto will remove and then create a space for something better to come through. So Pluto's been working through Capricorn for many, many years, and it will continue to for several more years. So yay. Again, groups and organizations trying to bring about integrity in government and in all different areas of life, I think can expect expansion in the coming year. So I'll just name some of the groups that are doing some great work out there. We've got Moms Across America. This amazing group is being responsible for exposing the glyphosate problem in foods. They recently revealed that they have a gold label standard that they're asking different companies to put on their products. They have to meet stringent requirements in terms of being organic and so forth. That's an awesome group that I think is going to be exploding more and more in 2020. The NVIC, National Vaccine Information Center. Again, this is a group that's been existing for many, many years, bringing to light some of the difficulties with the vaccines. I think this group is going to explode more. Del Bigtree on the High Wire. Again, his show's been on for a couple years now. I think it's going to gain more and more popularity, exposing truth in science. You may have your favorite charities and groups, whatever they are. If you don't have one, you may form one yourself in 2020. Remember, it's a 4-year, which is about building up, create the foundations. So that's something to look forward to with this Jupiter in Capricorn and Saturn in Capricorn. So let's look now at the Saturn and Capricorn movement. So Saturn loves to be in Capricorn because that's its home sign. It feels very good in Capricorn. So what we can see is a lot of discipline. So I think people will be urged to get disciplined. I think overall as a country, all the countries will be urged to be more responsible and more disciplined with the way they spend money, with the Environmental Protection Agency, with all the other agencies that are supposed to be protecting us. They will be disciplining themselves more. So that's an awesome thing. So if you want to know personally where you're going to feel the urge to get more disciplined, look on your chart and see where Saturn falls on your chart. And this is an area where you too can become more disciplined. So it's been, I don't want to say never before, but we could go back a couple hundred years to when we had Capricorn and so many planets in Capricorn. Now, what you can do is you can go back to 2008. That was the last time that Jupiter was in Capricorn. So as a world, what was happening? Well, in the United States, unfortunately, the market crashed, right? The housing market finally boomed. It had its boom and it crashed in 2008. So lots of people suffered. So if we look at that, the housing market had been expanding. People were getting bigger loans than they could handle. And Jupiter in Capricorn said, okay, enough is enough, right? Integrity. And so the market crashed. We had all this expansion and then it just burst. So what is going to burst in 2020? Well, we can look at the different markets. Is it the housing market? Well, they got more disciplined with the way they gave out loans. But I'm assuming that if there were any loans that went out that were not quite on the up and up, they may crash. We could look at the stock market. Has it been inflated? What's going on there? So financially, as probably all is a good thing to do, is diversification. Because sometimes we don't know what areas have been inflated by people. And so diversify. If you have all your eggs in one basket, any sound financial person would probably advise people, put your money in a lot of different places. So personally, you can look back at the year 2008 and see for you what area of life was expanding. And what area of life were you finding that you needed more discipline? Okay, because that is the return this year. So I know personally a lot of people that I've been talking to as they looked back in 2008, they said, wow, I was super busy. I know I was. Our daughter was 2. So obviously a 2-year-old at that age requires a lot of time, a lot of discipline, a lot of effort. We had a school that we were running full time. So we were just, on fire with all these different activities, expanding right and left. So I'm excited for 2020. Are you up for it, Patrick?
Sure, let's go.
We've got some awesome things planned for 2020. And so I just want to let you in on a couple things. If you've enjoyed what we've been talking about so far in terms of the energies for 2020 and you want to know more, I have an amazing online class through intuitiveschool.com. It's going to be unrolling here pretty soon. And it's going to walk you through step by step how to look at all the planets, how to look at the numbers and calculate what's going to be happening for you personally. I mean, there's no better way to get a heads up on the coming year than using the tools of numerology and astrology. So I always say the best way to gain success is to be prepared. So a lot of us right now are focusing on the holidays and all this. So I urge you to find some time to take this online course at intuitiveschool.com. You're going to find out what's going on for you. Sun is going to be moving into Capricorn at the end of the month. Right now we're in Sagittarius, so happy birthday, all you Sagittarians. I've had fun doing personal astrology readings, birthday readings, solar returns for all my Sagittarian people. That's awesome that you are delving into that. And then next, I'm going to be looking at Capricorns, and I'm assuming that I'm going to have a huge client load of Capricorns because, like I said, we have so many planets in Capricorn. It's unbelievable. And you just sense when there's going to be a big year coming up for you. And so those of you who are Capricorn are probably going to be wanting to figure out how can you make the best use of these energies because you're going to be pulled in many different directions. So again, a personal reading or taking an online 2020 future predictions course is one of the best ways to do it. So meet us on Facebook. Tell us what was going on in your life in 2008, because right now you're going to experience an echo of that. Whatever happened then is going to be coming back again. So before we go into the break, we just want to mention some awesome metaphysical places to get some gifts. The first one is if you know anybody who loves music and wants a healing at the same time, check out Paradiso and Rasamai CDs. They play singing bowls and didgeridoos together, and we recently attended one of their live concerts, and I have to tell you, it was absolutely mind-blowing, wasn't it, Patrick?
Right. It's very similar to a crystal singing bowl didgeridoo meditation that I do. They play together, and so there is a wonderful duet energy that is generated between them. Paradiso is on the didgeridoos, and Rasamai is on the different singing bowls. She has all these singing bowls that she calls them the alchemical bowls because many of them are imbued with different energies of different minerals. She has a diamond bowl and a gold bowl and all these different bowls with all the different energies that can be used there. And Paradiso has what is the largest crystal didgeridoo in the world. So it's really an amazing combination. Rasamai has an amazing voice that blends with everything that's going on. It's a healing experience. It's an uplifting experience. It's a consciousness transforming experience. So they're having, when was it? We just went to their concert recently. It was at the first part of December, and now they're going to have another one that's coming up, which will be around the new year. So look up Paradiso and Rasamai on Google and also on their website.
It's in Kansas City, Missouri. They'll be holding the concert there. So if you want alternative New Year's plans instead of going out to bars, check out their concert. Amazing couple. Another great gift that we talked about a lot last year is wearing your zodiac jewelry. So check that out at Wandering Star Jewelry. Julie Benoit is the owner, and she has amazing products. If you're into astrology, you can get a necklace with all your planets. You can get bracelets, earrings, anything jewelry-wise she offers as well. I always like to look for alternative gifts. And lastly, if you don't want things or your people that you buy for have everything they could ever need, give them experiences. So at Intuitive School, we have our intuitive readings, past life, health, past life relationship, and business readings. It's a great gift certificate to give somebody, and they can have a year to use up that certificate. We also offer the astrology readings, the online course. So think about giving the gift of experience and wisdom to your friends and family.
So we are coming up on the break, and since we've had so many amazing guests, it's been a while since we've been able to do anything on dreams. So we will be taking callers in the second half. So you can just that the United States UK number on the other side that you can look up tfrlive.com for that. So we're going in. This is this journey on Truth Frequency Radio. Let's Talk Radio.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the Truth Frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Back to Spirit's Journey. We are coming to you on Truth Frequency Radio, simulcast on Mindfulness Talk Radio. If you are just joining us, we are talking about dreams in this segment. So the call-in number in the United States is 213-233-3998. Again, that's 213-233-3998. And in the UK, you can call us at 44203-393-2871. Again, that's 44203-393-2871. If you missed that, you can just go to the TFRlive.com website. It's got the call-in numbers right there. I'm going to talk a little bit about dreams. Please don't be shy. I know that sometimes people are a little shy about calling in about their dreams, but they're a great way to reveal inner awareness about what's going on within. So we haven't talked about dreams in a while. One of the first reasons why we believe it's important to understand your dreams and pay attention to the messages that your dreams are telling you at night is because it's actually a communication between your conscious and subconscious minds. And so our conscious mind is continually communicating to our inner self through our conscious thoughts. And our thoughts, as you might be aware of, lead to our actions. And so a lot of times when we are moving a certain way within our mind, we might be creating things in our life that don't make sense. And so when we look at our dreams, then we can understand things that may not be really supporting the goals and dreams that we are creating in our lives. And it's important to understand those things and to be able to make those changes. And so how we do that during night, every night in about 90 minutes cycles or so, and that's approximate, we go into a dream cycle. And so that's where the conscious mind is essentially being downloaded, all of our experiences that we had at night while we were asleep. And so we go through these deeper and deeper cycles, deeper and deeper into the subconscious mind as we sleep, to be able to bring balance between the inner self and the outer self. Now, the inner self we might call also the soul, because that's the part of our consciousness that continues on after this body drops away. So there is a part of our consciousness, and we talk about that a lot, and you need to look within yourself perhaps to see how much you really believe that. And so when we have these experiences, like with dream interpretation, and you can have visitations of people that have passed and things like that come up in your dreams, then it starts to build credibility to this idea that we really do exist. We gain this knowledge and understanding through experience, not just belief, but we can actually create experiences that support our ideas so that we can really know that these things are true. So when you are starting to interpret your dreams, one thing that we recommend is to have something sitting by your bed so that you can write your dream down first thing in the morning when you get up. Don't wait, because if you wait till you get up and go to the bathroom, by the time you come back, half the dream will be changed. You may have forgotten the other half of it. So it's important to write it down right away so that we can get it down as accurately and honestly as possible. Now, when you're looking at the dream, the thing to keep in mind is that nothing in this dream should be taken literally. Everything is representative of what's happening in our consciousness. So we call that the language of the mind. It's the language that the mind communicates in. So if you look at how language is formed, we always have an image in our mind first, and then we pick the words that describe that image. Now, we've been speaking for years, ever since we were, 1 or 2 years old. So we don't probably often remember that process. But if you think back to how you train a baby to start speaking, you start pointing things out. You hold up a cup, and you say, this is a cup, and you point to a flower, and you say, this is a flower. So every time there's a word associated with something, there is a specific object that is being pointed out in the beginning. Then we work up to more complicated things like love and fear and all of these things. But these are also based on tangible experiences. And so when we give the word fear to an experience, we have an experience of the body and what it feels like for the adrenaline to be rushing through our body and for our mind to be thinking about all these horrible things that could happen. Or when we're thinking about love, we think of all the experiences of somebody showing us love and caring and compassion and that warm, fuzzy feeling of connecting with another person. So we have these tangible experiences that relate to the words that we use. And so those experiences are what we want to get back to. So when you're looking at a symbol in a dream, for example, like a car, we look at the function of that more than just the actual object itself. So for example, when the mind is talking about a car, it's talking about a vehicle. So we use the body as a vehicle to get around, and our consciousness is tied and associated with this body for as long as we are in it. Now, there are actually experiences that we can create if we are willing to put in the time and the effort and the discipline to do that, such as astral projection. Now, this is a very advanced technique. It's something that I worked on for a very long time. I do not consider myself a natural-born psychic. In fact, my definition of a psychic is somebody who was born with all of their abilities kind of turned on when they came in. A lot of times psychics don't understand how they came to have those abilities. They just consider them gifts many times. And often psychics also, because they don't understand how they develop those abilities, they aren't really in a good position to teach that, to pass that on to other people. But intuitives, on the other hand, I would describe myself more as an intuitive. Intuitives, in my definition, is someone who did not come into this world with all of their intuitive gifts turned on, but through practice and discipline, they learned how to access all those different parts of the mind and to build those abilities within themselves. So with that vein, I actually spent quite a lot of time learning this technique of astral projection. And there's a lot of people who said, even some very wise teachers and mystics who say, astral projection is just a waste of time. It's a distraction on your spiritual path, on your spiritual quest. But I actually beg to differ, because for me, all that time that I spent when I started really creating experiences that I knew were experiences of my consciousness leaving my body, it really hit home that I am a being of energy, that I have a consciousness that can exist outside of my physical body. And that, I think, is the real benefit of doing something like astral projection. So we'll get back to dreams in a second, but Kathryn, do you have any experiences with astral projection?
Yeah, I was going to say it spills over to other areas of your life in terms of developing your intuitive abilities. So one of the things is you gain more control over your mind, being able to control where your attention's focused. When you astrally project, you're really just moving your attention from this physical realm to the spiritual realm. Likewise, that makes you more intuitive. That's what I found. And you realize that the veil between this world and the spiritual world is pretty thin. And you can pierce that veil by doing things like astral projection. So I do think it does have its place in terms of somebody's development. Once you kind of master that, then, there's really no need to keep going back to it. You could just go at will. For example, when you go to sleep at night, we all go into the astral plane. But astral projection means you consciously, willfully move your attention to that astral plane while you're in your body. And so sometimes it's just a nice reprieve from all the physical stuff to remind you, oh yeah, this is just one view of reality, this physical, but there's so much more beyond the veil. We were just talking, in the first half of the show about all this deception and stuff that's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. We've just pierced the veil and now we see it, right? It's the same thing with astral projection. The astral world's always been there. We're just piercing the veil. Okay.
Now, there's another technique that's an advanced technique of working with our dreams that is called lucid dreaming. Now, this is similar to astral projection, except that you your consciousness mainly remains within that dream realm, that dream area of our consciousness. But the difference is that while we are dreaming, we actually wake up within the dream. We become aware that our physical personality is now in this dream world, and we are able to start making decisions in the dream state. Now, this is very different. When you start recording your dreams, you'll notice that most of your dreams are like on automatic pilot. You're just this character in this story that is unfolding. You don't really have direct control over making decisions. You're just kind of playing out this role. The whole thing is being recorded and then downloaded into your conscious mind. And basically, like I was saying before, that is feedback from your inner self to your outer self. This is what's going on. This is how we create balance within our consciousness. But astral projection and lucid dreaming being very closely related, we are consciously aware, we are moving into that non-physical realm, and then we are being able to create very specific experiences based on our choices and our free will. And one of the things that people often are able to do, for example, is that they're able to fly in their dreams and things like that. Flying in a dream represents that we are experiencing a lot of mental freedom in our life. We are recognizing that we are free to do whatever we want. As I mentioned, your physical body is represented by a car. So check out the condition of the car, because if you're having any kind of mechanical problems with the car, that could be warning you of things that are developing in your body that you need to give attention to. So, for example, if you are running low on gas, it could be representing that your energy is very low. You need to be very careful about what you eat. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're getting enough rest, things like that.
And I remember it was so funny. I was in this weekend workshop, and, it was after lunch. I was feeling the tiredness coming on, and I started drifting off, and I was dreaming that I was at the gas station, and I went to fill up my car because it didn't have enough gas, and I was having trouble getting gas into my car. And literally at that moment, I was like having trouble staying awake. So it is so true about the car and what it says about your body.
Now, another thing you might look at is if you're driving your car and you are out of control, it indicates that you're feeling out of control in your life on the path that you're on. So that's a good time to slow down, take a step back, and assess what's going on in your life. Look for things that maybe are not high priorities, that maybe you are running around trying to take care of every single little detail, doing every single little thing for everybody. And you might need to actually prioritize your list. One thing that I like to do is I like the Franklin Covey system, where you do an A for those things which are very important that must be done today. A B is for things that are important and would be great to get done, but could wait another day if you had to. And then C are things that you just like to do, but it isn't really important whether it gets done or not. And then you can start prioritizing those. Like if you have more than one A, you can do A1, which is, this is out of all the A's, this is the most important thing. And then think about, well, if I could do one more thing, what would it be? That would be your A2. And so you do that all the way down through. And so that gives you a very clear priority of all the things in your life, and it can help you start to get things organized where you can get the most important things done and not feel like you're running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So one of the things that's important is remember that you can't do everything all at the same time. But if you prioritize, a lot of times the time management people say, a lot of times we spend 80% of our time doing the things that are the bottom 20% of our priorities. It seems like those unimportant things keep eating up so much of our time. So we want to turn that around so that 80% of our time is used doing all those things that are at the top of our list. And then with that remaining time that you have left over, you'll find that a lot of those other things start kind of fitting in and filling in the cracks. And so you can have a very well-rounded life. Now, also another thing that you can look at is a house. So if you look at the condition of a house in your dreams, that will give you a good idea of the condition, your perception of how your mind is. So if the house is in good repair, it shows that you feel like your mental faculties are, humming along just fine. But if you find that you go in and your house is in disrepair, then you might need to spend some time doing some concentration exercises, meditation, maybe practicing visualization, getting plenty of rest and exercise, and eating a good healthy diet like we talked about before.
So, all right, I've got a cool dream we're going to talk about because I haven't had time to interpret it, Patrick.
All right.
This is the great thing about being married to somebody who also knows dreams, because you can share each other's dreams and interpret them. Because the big deal is, a lot of times we don't see our own stuff, right? I mean, even this famous psychic Sylvia Brown, I heard her talking, and she was saying, boy, I can't find my car keys for the life of me, but I can go do an hour reading on somebody else. So a lot of times we don't see our own stuff. So I had this dream where I was having like a sleepover at these people's houses, and there were all like different people. And we were looking like where we were going to sleep and figuring out the bed setup. And like, well, we're going to sleep with the boy in the boys' room, or we were going to sleep in the girls' room. And then there was like a buffet or a food thing that people were going to get their plates and filling up. And so it was kind of fun because we were like, oh yeah, this is like this big sleepover and everything. It was almost like, some kind of celebration or party. But I don't remember any of the people. I don't know any of the people in the dream. And I wasn't exactly sure why we were doing this sleepover. So Patrick, help me out.
All right. So the first thing to look at with that is, since you don't know the people in a dream, these are different parts of yourself that you're aware of, but you aren't really clear on the role that each of these parts of yourself play. So for example, when I'm talking about a part of myself, I might have somebody show up in my dream that is a musician, because being a musician is part of who I am. I might have somebody else in my life who shows up who is a writer, because I'm also a writer. So those are just some things. We can also have people who show up who represent our generosity or our selfishness. So we need to be honest about the kind of people that show up. And even if you don't know the person, sometimes you might be able to identify some qualities. Like, you don't know this person, but you could say, oh, well, the person was really caring or a great listener or very selfish or kind of rude. And so it's important to be honest when that shows up, because it does reflect something that is within us. And so I usually recommend describing the person in the dream in one or two words. Whether you know them or not, just try to pick out one or two words that describes that person. Now, a celebration is a recognition of something that's been accomplished. It's like a milestone. You've accomplished something, you're moving on to the next step. So that could be related to this kind of energy. But the other key piece here is that there's a big buffet. So food represents knowledge that we're taking in. So there's a lot of things that you're learning during this period, a lot of knowledge that you're taking in. The next step is then to assimilate it, make it part of yourself. But I know for myself that I'm definitely in a place where I feel like I'm taking in new information like water through a fire hose. So I feel like there's just all this information that I need to take in and process. But there are also these celebrations, like these milestones. So I can kind of relate to the quality of energy of the dream. And also that there's, this sense of maybe needing to give a little bit more attention to really looking at these qualities within yourself that are developing, so that you can understand what's going on more, but that there's still progress being made. There's a lot of information being taken in, so there's a big time of learning. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Thank you. See how powerful that is, guys? Wow, that was a lot of great insights, and I can totally connect them.
Well, now you might be thinking, well, that's easy because she's your wife, and so you are around her a lot. And there is some truth to that. I can, see what's in her life, but I've interpreted many dreams, hundreds of dreams from people, and have done many radio shows where people just call up out of the blue, and I've never met them. In fact, they're just on the phone. I don't even see them in the studio, and can give them a little insight about what's going on in their life. So if you do have a dream, we have just a little bit of time left, and so we might be able to take one or two callers before the end of the show. But the thing I did want to recap on real quick, because we're running out of time on this dream segment here, is to make sure that you have something by your bed, a pen and a paper or a notebook, so that you can write your dream down right away and work with the dream. Look at the function of the symbols, because remember, they are symbolic. It's not to be taken literally. Just look at the function of the symbols, and then that can give you some insight. And then you look for where that is in your life, and then look to see if it's giving you anything that you can use, that you can apply to make any kind of changes or affirmations in your life. So I did want to talk about the energy of the season here before we go, because since Christmas is coming up, I know there's a lot of emphasis on shopping, and we've got to get gifts for everybody. So we're terribly busy. We're cleaning our house for parties and going to other people's parties, and all these things are going on. But let's remember that part of the energy here too is celebrating Christ consciousness. So Christ actually is a term that means anointed. And so when we were talking about Jesus the Christ, he was recognized as being a being who was anointed. And another word you might use is enlightened. And so we each have that within us. And so as we reach for that deeper, higher consciousness, all those things that we describe as being the best parts of ourselves, that's what we are reaching for. Now, there are several different methods that we can use to do that. Dream interpretation is one of them that we talked about, and that's a great starting place because I think all of us can relate to having at least one or two dreams that we've experienced in our lives. So that's a great way to start experiencing our inner self and beginning to understand who we are and looking for ways to make those subtle changes within ourselves that make those huge changes down the road once we get the ball rolling. But there's some other techniques, too, that I want to touch on, such as mindfulness and meditation and contemplation. I just came back from a retreat, actually, recently, where we were focusing on that, and it was fabulous because a lot of times in retreats, there can be so much focus on just taking in lots and lots of information over the weekend. But this retreat was balanced really well. It was for men. It was out in nature. We got to take hikes out on the land. And there was plenty of time for quiet reflection as well as time for discussion and taking in new information. So when we talk about mindfulness, when we're looking at dreams, we've talked about the inner self and the outer self. The thing that we haven't really touched on yet is that the conscious mind is usually so busy. There's all this chattering in our mind. In fact, a friend of ours sent us this little thing online, and it was hysterical. And it said, my mind is like a web browser. I've got 17 windows open. 4 of them are frozen, and I don't know where the music is coming from. So
I think everybody's mind feels like that during the holiday season. I love that one. I don't know where the music's coming from. I've had that happen to my computer. Like, I can't shut this voice off of this music.
So I thought that was perfect. And it's a great way to describe just how scattered our attention can be in the conscious mind. And especially when we have so many things going on during the holiday, it's so easy to get carried away in all the activity and completely forget what the point of this really is. And I don't think that it's a mistake that the Christmas season was centered right over the winter solstice, because this is the darkest part of the year. So it's symbolic of when we are in that dark part of our experience in our soul, and we just don't know if things are ever going to get better. We don't know if we're going to be able to improve as a person and as a spiritual being. But the whole point of the Christmas tree, it goes back to this tradition where they would go out and, the ironic thing is they never did kill the evergreen trees. They left them right where they were because they were so celebrating the evergreen trees and what it symbolized, which was even in this darkest time of the year, it was the shortest day of the year. So this was the darkest day of the year. And yet there is life there. Under the surface, behind the scenes, life still exists. So they would decorate these evergreen trees that represent that all this is still happening. And within ourselves, it's symbolic that even when we have those dark periods where we're just not sure, sometimes in metaphysics, it's easy to get fluffy and talk about only the good stuff. And, sometimes people complain, well, you're not really being honest. You're not talking about the shadow stuff, the dark stuff. And that's what this time of the year represents. It's recognizing that we aren't always perfect. We go through challenges, but even those dark periods, when we look within, we can see that light, that spark, and that is the Christ consciousness, that spark. And so the birth of Christ symbolically represents within each of us that turning point where we really start to wake up and we start to take active steps toward becoming a higher level of spiritual being. And higher level, I mean improving ourselves, looking for ways that we can make a difference in the world so that we're passing on what we have learned, what we know to other people. As we do all of those things, then our energy, the vibration of our energy starts to actually increase. And so we start to emanate more light. And that's really the essence of what we mean when we're talking about being an enlightened being, that when we're looking at physics and quantum physics in particular, that when you get down to the smaller and smaller particles, everything is just energy. So all of these mystics for thousands of years, long before we ever had the theories and the technology to prove that it was true, they said we are all beings of light, and they are right on. We are, and we always have been, beings of light. So an enlightened person is someone who lets that energy out. Just like Jesus said, don't hide your light, just let it out so everyone can see it. So when we are moving toward that Christ consciousness, we are taking steps to reach down within and finding who we are, letting that out for everyone to see. So mindfulness is simply just letting the conscious mind quiet down. You can do that through a simple activity like washing the dishes. You can go walk in nature, or you can have a sit. I love the Buddhist tradition where they talk about everything is a meditation. And so I'm just going to now sit and meditate, or I'm going to go for a walk and meditate, or I'm going to rake my leaves and meditate. So we can have that practice of just calming the conscious mind down, and then we look through those little gaps, those little spaces, to see what's going on behind the scenes.
All right, folks, I want to let you know December 19th, for all of you last-minute shoppers, there is an amazing aspect between Mars and Saturn helping us to get disciplined and take action. So if you still have shopping to do, put up the treehouse decorating. December 19th is your day.
We love having you with us, so please connect with us on Facebook at Spirits Journey Radio. Be sure to like our page so that we can be part of your life and you can be part of ours. This has been Spirit's Journey live on Truth Frequency Radio, simulcast on Oneness Talk Radio. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Kathryn. Have an amazing week. We'll see all you guys next Saturday.